Hey guys, welcome back to the Sylvania Halolight restoration project. In this installment, we are going to try powering it up for the first time. Just putting the final touches on the upper chassis. That includes replacing some of the tubes. And some of these tube types are ones I don't commonly use or have never used before. Luckily, I have a bunch of new old stock tubes that I've been installing, mostly Sylvania branded. And what I found curious was at least a couple of the tubes that I found installed in this set that tested good are not what's listed on the tube chart, but I believe they are compatible. In fact, on the tube chart they list 3 tube types for one of the tubes that's in the tuner, and the tube I found in the tuner was yet a 4th type, but I think all 4 of them are close enough. What I put in there is what's actually stamped right next to the socket on the tuner, which is 5U8, which is a pretty common mixer oscillator tube, I do believe. So I have one more tube to install in this, a 12BY7, and 2 caps to replace. And I'm going to pop it back in the cabinet, which I did lug downstairs by myself. Do not recommend. It was one of the most awkward, sets I've ever tried to move. Maybe made worse by the fact that the chassis is worn in it because it's very front heavy. I'll turn the camera around in a second and show you what I mean. So, and there's nothing really to hold on to. I just want to step at a time, but even so, it was really awkward. Could I have waited for help? Sure, but again, I'm anxious to try powering this up, so I want to get it down in the workshop where I could really focus on digging into it. So here, I'll give you a look at what I'm talking about. It's just behind the camera. There she is. It's supposed to have rubber inserts for at the end of each square metal leg. 3 of them are present, but they keep falling off. So I put some furniture movers underneath, and one of those has already fallen loose too because the floor isn't exactly level. But here's what I mean. All the weight's in the front with the pitcher tube, so this thing wants to tip this way. Now what I find odd, I have to look in some reference photos to make sure that this is correct, is notice the rear legs stick out further that way. It sure seems to me it should be the opposite way, and they should stick out more in the front to take care of that problem. So at some point, is it possible the legs were removed and reattached and put on backwards? Or are they there to prevent this from going too far against the wall and bumping the neck? Now the neck just barely protrudes. You can't even see it, right? There it is. Just sticks out like a ½ an inch. And there is a cover on the back of the set. In other words, it doesn't stick out anywhere near enough as those legs protrude out the back. Now once I put the upper chassis in, it'll put a little more weight on the back, but not that much. So it's a tad precarious. But this also gave me a chance to look at the cosmetics a little bit more. So this is all faux wood grain. But the main surfaces are in quite good condition, so the top and the sides. What's bad is this front little separate strip here. So I guess that's a good thing, because whatever I want to do to touch up, I just have to do on that little narrow strip. I haven't quite decided yet. But at the very least, if I use some brown touch-up paint or something. And then there's some separation. I wasn't quite sure what to make of this until, again, I got it down here and got it in some good light and got a better idea what's going on. So there's this, I think it's synthetic, might be plastic woven fiber grill cloth with some gold trim. And there's, I don't know, particle board or something behind it. It's separated in some areas, or bubbled out here. And there's some fraying cloth here and there. I'm not sure, short of removing the pitcher tube from the back, if I can take this front off. I'd like to clean it, to check the condition of the tube, and to repair any damage. The cloth is separating up on... Oh, okay, so it's not... Well, you can really see it up top. It's like the cloth has a plastic backer to it. It's not just cloth that's glued down to something. It's it's got a rather thick piece of plastic behind it, and that's what's warping. So yeah, if I really want to do this right, I need to break this down somehow so I can get in there and use some contact cement or something to glue it back down. But that's minimal. I mean, it could be far, far worse. Like the grill cloth's not torn or missing or anything like that. I think it just needs to be glued down here and there. And what I've heard from other collectors, this is the really important thing, is this plastic, which is in pretty good shape. Although I'm noticing there is what appears to be a stress crack here and a little bit of one forming there. But otherwise, it's in good shape. I'm just about done rebuilding the power supply. Here's my new cap up top, wired in with some heat shrink tubing. Put some new diodes down in here on that terminal strip. Got one of the caps for the doubler mounted up. Need to install another one here. And there is my new filament dropper with the CL90 and 1N5408. Aside from hooking up a couple last wires, I need to do something about this fuse holder. It turns out that no, I don't have any of these on hand. Several of you have offered them to me. I may take you up, but I'm also considering just putting in a conventional fuse holder, since it's far more common to use regular fuses, and by that I mean fuses that look like this, that don't have that extra long part with the prong sticking out. And honestly, this is safer. Same idea, you push down and twist to open it up, but the fuse is inside, so you're not exposed directly to the line voltage. I'm not quite sure how this is fit in here. Kind of looks like it's pushed in and not meant to come out once it's installed. Like they have a washer that's sort of flexed, and once you push down, it doesn't want to come out. So what I want to know is if the hole is exactly the same size, I'll just pop this guy right in and we're done. But it looks like I might have to destroy this thing to get it out, or at least, well, let's try prying it up before we get destructive. Should have a pocket knife in there somewhere. Alright, got it. Actually, I didn't have to slide it off. I just needed to pry it up on either side, and then the whole thing lifted up. I'm just going to cut these wires off because they're kind of rough shape anyways. Here, oh, I see. That was deceptive. So yes, there is a C-ring, but there's bits that extend down with little clips on the side. So yeah, you do need to just pry it up on either side. There we go. So I don't know how long this was in fashion, but this is what I'm always used to saying. It's very, very similar, but protects you with some plastic so you don't get shocked. I'd be surprised if this wasn't compatible. Oh, so close. With a little bit of filing, it would fit. There's a little bump out on this back side, and I think I just need to file a little notch in that, and it'll drop right down in there. Clean this lug off. Yeah, it's really close to fitting. Alright. I got the newer style fuse holder installed, got everything wired up. I think we are ready to reassemble and try firing this set up. Oh, here it is from the backside, as somebody commented online. Yeah, it looks like there's just one screw that holds the picture tube, and you take that out and loosen this up and the whole thing just comes out. As far as the bezel goes, it looks like there's a screw in each corner that holds it in, and two of them are missing. So I think if I just take out that screw and that, the whole front comes out. And here's the two wires, or three wires, for the Halolight. I guess there's two wires going to the light and another wire for grounding. I'll do a little cleaning while I got this out too. I want to clean this area around here in particular. Looks quite, yeah, it's quite filthy. Should look like that. Lower chassis, I straightened out this bracket, and as near as I can tell, There's just one screw that goes in here, and that's the only thing that holds the lower chassis in place. Otherwise, it just sits on these insulated fiber boards here. Cleaned it all up with CLR. Checked the tubes. So I think that's all good to go. Holy cow, is that picture tube filthy. That's just from doing a brief cleaning around that area and the perimeter. So I think first order of business after I get a raster and get an image on this thing is I'm going to be taking it apart, and I want to thoroughly clean this. And notice the strap is quite rusty too. We can take care of that and fully clean out the bezel and everything. It's probably a piece of, well, there should be a piece of safety glass in front of this too. And I imagine that is equally filthy. That's got to be from smokers, at least some of it. Some of it will be from static electricity attracting dust, but yeah. That's probably why this was so nicely preserved too, from nicotine glaze, sealing everything in. Now one of the reasons I'm not crazy about taking the picture tube out, and you shouldn't be either if you don't have to, is this stuff. So these things, these are magnets for doing pin cushion and linearity corrections, and notice this one's twisted and contorted, just like in Predictas. These are on flexible metal, and you're meant to twist and distort and contort them as needed to get good screen geometry. So when I take this off, put it back on, I want to try to preserve that as best I can, assuming it's good now. Alrighty, chassis reinstalled, reconnected. Remember, this strap needs to get attached to that lower chassis. That completes the filament circuit. Okay, so a little bit awkward for testing here. Haven't reinstalled the knobs, but I believe everything, I believe it's turned on at this point. So I'm going to flip on my PR57 over here behind the scenes. Drawing 3/4 of an amp or so. Yep, tubes are lighting up. Current draw is going up slightly. I hear hum out of the speaker. Maybe there's some high voltage happening. Ooh. Bit of a pop. Oh yes, I see glowage. Fantastic. Oh yes, we need to do some cleaning. That's plastic. Plastic safety glass. We can polish that out. Alright, so we got some work to do with the linearity and height. But that's cool. But what do you all want to know about? The Halolight, right? Well, I suspect it's turned off. It is plugged in right now. So there's that switch on the back. That speculation is that is the Halolight. So let's dim the lighting here a little bit to simulate watching a TV back in the day. So there you go. There's your raster. Let me reach around the back here and find that switch. Here it is. So we're going to flip that. Yes, it works. It works. Let's all bask in the glory of it for a bit. And yeah, I figured that stress crack might be a little noticeable there. That, I think it's some masking tape. That should clean off. And I can see how it's kind of like flickering, modulating a little bit like a fluorescent tube will. Now, this is basically the last model year. Maybe there's one more model year after this when they had this feature. And I've heard from a number of you that had one that it was disabled. Now here's my thoughts on why. This was introduced, I think, around 53. whereas this is from 59. Picture tube's got a lot brighter over time. And I think by the time you reach this point, this feature is really unnecessary, because you can watch this in a fairly well-lit room. Whereas older sets, you really need to watch them in a dim room because the picture tubes are not that bright, especially if they're not illuminized. And that would cause eye strain. So having this glow around it, or a TV lamp shining on the wall behind the TV to illuminate it, same deal. But by the time this came out, I think it was more just a novelty, Sylvania promoting their Halolight, because they also made light bulbs, than it actually being a useful feature. But hey, there we go. I also suspect that this is not as bright as it could be, and it's darker up here. Now, it could just be, it might be very filthy behind it, and that could help out a bit too. But all that aside, hey, TV turned on. Which means all that work I did, changes of the power supply and everything, worked out. Oh, cool, and the light bulb is still good up here. So we are on channel 5. So, I thought we might get some raster, some snow. Let me get the knobs, feed in a signal, and go from there. But hey, how's that for a first power up? After, well, a few hours of work on the boards, of course, and the power supply. Alright, reinstall the knobs, which will allow me to turn down the brightness on the picture tube, but now you can see it with the picture tube dark. The Halolight is far more effective. Imagine that's the effect of the thermistor on the filament string. Takes a little while for things to warm up and stabilize. Alright, let's see, what do we got? So brightness. Turn that down. That was up all the way. So now the Halolight's a little more noticeable. Channel clunker is working, that's cool. But fine tuning does not. It's locked, just like it was when I had it up on the workbench and I was playing around with it. Cannot figure out how that's supposed to work. Also, I have no indication of reception. So, let's hook up a signal. I can use my little portable Sencor pattern generator. I was playing around with some controls on the back. I knew that was vertical hold, but I touched this guy and check this out. Reception. I bet that's an AGC control. Don't know what this one is for. Got 2 more I haven't tried. 3 more. There we go. Imagine that's height. It was cranked all the way to one direction. Alright, we've got snow, we've got full raster. Fantastic. So you be the judge. Here it is, no Halolight. And with Halolight. Alright, let's see what this puppy can do. First, let's turn the sound down. And here's my Sencor Video Pro. I did replace the rechargeable batteries in it. And hey, not sure what pattern we're on, but pattern. Oh, how about linearity? Ooh, I screwed something up. Signal type. Alright. Oh, yeah. There we go. Alright, so let's play around with the hold controls. You watch that. Just with this skinny TV I can reach around the back while looking at the front. I think we're okay on the vertical. I think it's the horizontal that's really screwy, which I believe is this thing that's not easy to adjust. You know what it might be? There's one thing I didn't replace. Dual selenium rectifier on the upper chassis. Maybe this guy. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, there is a horizontal hole that's on the upper chassis. Obviously I need to look at the service info to see what all these controls do. Weird, why do we have those horizontal lines? Let's try a different pattern. I can't remember if those are supposed to be there or not. I don't think they are. Bit by bit getting better and better. One thing I definitely had to do was turn down the contrast. So when the contrast goes up, you start losing the details. You lose the little dots inside of each square. The vertical lines become less noticeable. Turn the contrast down. Turn the brightness down. Better. But I think another issue is fine-tuning. I can't get it to work. Take a look at the back here. This up on the workbench, I was puzzling over this too, and I still haven't figured it out. So I'm turning this little thing up top, which goes down into each one of these. These are fine-tuning adjustments, which I can move manually by putting my finger on these discs. But the actual control, I can't figure out, do I need to push in, pull up? I mean, it's locked by this mechanism down here. I don't know if that's locked at the factory or if I need to do something or what the deal is. I guess one thing I can do, let's see. So this is 3, is I'll just move it a little bit when I'm off channel and then go back to it and keep doing that and see if it gets any better. Actually, yeah, I think that did get better. Hey, you might be asking yourself, what about sound? Well, I didn't know this thing could do sound, but I just hit, I think it was options, or audio. I hit test audio. Hey, it's off. We have sound. What, tone control? Yep. Now seeing this and actually using this, this must have been annoying in real life to adjust the volume, to have it behind a sliding panel and a tiny little knob for one, and same with changing the channel for that matter. I mean, it's a cool little idea, but geez. Get up, hey, I want to watch a different channel. You got to come over, push down, slide it over, do this. Or you want to adjust the volume, you got to come over and do that. So, yeah, whatever. Gimmicky set, sure, but that's part of the charm, I think. I wonder what else this can do. Notice the backlight turns off automatically on its own, which I suppose is good if you're using this out in the field and you don't want your batteries to go down. Oh, power saver on. Maybe I'll turn power saver off. Nifty little device. Now, as far as those legs go and it being front heavy, now this is not definitive proof. This is just from the service info, but it sure looks like the legs stick out more in front than in the back. And here's a photo of my set. And this is the front of the set, and the legs are just flush with the front of the cabinet, and they're sticking out in the back. Sure looks to me like the front legs should be even with the front of that bezel, which would be out to here. So I think these legs. So when I take this apart to clean the bezel, take the picture tube out and all that, I can flip the cabinet upside down and see what's going on with these. I want to straighten them out a little bit too. I think you can even just see it from this. The legs are a little tweaked. That's one downside to this design versus these, is having these long legs with no cross support. The shelf is not structural in any way. It's very easy for these legs to get bent. So I want to straighten mine out a bit. Alright, I think that will take care of all the issues about it being front heavy. You can also study this photo and see a little bit with the, again, with the faux finish issue. So the main panel is great, just obviously needs a thorough cleaning, and I'll put some furniture polish on it, but this front edge just, which seems a lot because I'm pretty sure it's the same material. I don't know why it deteriorated so much here, but then it stops right at this edge here, so I just need to do something with that. If it comes down to it, I can get some modern like wood grain vinyl sticker material and put it over that. But even if I just painted a light brown and matched the main color over here, it would look a lot better than it does now. Let's wrap things up with some actual programming. After that, I'm going to tear this back apart, try to figure out why the fine-tuning knob doesn't work, try to switch the legs around, address some of the cosmetic issues, and perhaps do an alignment at some point. I was speculating earlier, how can we run this set without the picture tube up on the workbench, but if I'm doing an alignment, I can just sub a power resistor for the picture tube filament, and I should be able to run it and do an alignment like that. Anyways, here we go. Notice Halolight comes on instantly. Then we have to wait for the tubes to warm up a little bit. I had this running not too long ago, so I think it'll come up fairly quickly. Just using an over-the-air converter box plugged right into the antenna. The terminals on the back with 75 ohm to 300 ohm balun. There we go.
Ever been a Korea doctor? No. Oh, you'd love it. In addition to trauma surgery and wholesale amputations, we've got typhus, filariasis, encephalitis, typhoid, paratyphoid, and cholera. Korea's the Detroit of bacteria. We operate in the
well, looks pretty darn good to me.
We'll never forget.
Alright, so before I get a copyright violation, that is going to be it for now. Very happy with this as far as first powered up goes. Tell it's a strong picture tube because that dot lasts a long time, but I also I've seen it happen where when you collapse it to a bright point again and again and again and again and again, it can eventually start damaging the phosphor, even though it's aluminized. So someday it'd be nice to find a spot killer circuit. Other folks have asked me about it. I don't know of one, but if any of you know of one, can pass it along, I'd be happy to give it a try. Otherwise, that is it for now. Fantastic results. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.